Hello family, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angela, and here on this channel, I create beauty, fashion, and lifestyle content, in particular for the woman over 40. This video is definitely, without a doubt, for the woman over 40. But if the woman under 40 wants to listen so that she knows what she has coming down the road, quite a few years down the road, then she can listen to it as well. But this video is certainly for women over 40. So if you watch my video, maybe you don't know, I do a lot of research to determine what I'm going to be shooting, the content I'm going to be creating for you guys. It's always with you in mind though. It's always with you in mind and what issues you're having. Most of the time it's related to fashion. Sometimes it's related to home life, but most of the time it's related to fashion, but not today. Today's video is all about some of the things that are stressing women my age, over 40, I'm over 50, things that are stressing us out. And I did some research, and there was quite a few things. The list was pretty long, which I was very surprised, but not surprised. What I saw was a lot of things were left off. But anyway, I went through the list and I picked 5 things that I could talk about today, things that I've either gone through or that I have some insight on that I thought I would discuss with you guys, and also give you some solutions or a little bit of a solution to each one of these stressors. If you'd like to know what those are and get a bit of advice on what can help you with those, then stay tuned now. Let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start with number 1, the oldie but goodie, but not good whatsoever. The biggest one on the list. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, and I'm sure most of you already know what it is, and yes, it is indeed menopause. We just can't stop talking about it because she is horrible. She and everything that comes along with her are horrible. Yes, if I could talk to Eve, I would. If I could talk to her without strangling her, I would have a very intense conversation and let her know what she has done to us. The burden that she has put on us. We are not deserving of what she has done. I would just have a chit chat. It'd be might be a shouting match, but I would definitely have a conversation with her and then tell her, do not, whatever you heard him say, don't bite that apple. Anyway, you have made us suffer. So menopause is, believe it or not, different for every woman. Although most of us, and I'm gonna say most, like 95% of us suffer. We suffer in varying stages and varying degrees. There are so many horrible symptoms that come with menopause. There's just the brain fog, and you're just trying to think. Normally you're very quick with it, and you have the words come very easily. You're trying to converse with people, and you just cannot pull those words out your brain. You know that you know what word is there. You know what, you just don't know. You can't get to it. You cannot get to it, and it can be extremely frustrating. Then you have the weight gain. Listen, I've been eating the same way my whole life. I know my metabolism is slowing down, but why does it just all of a sudden it seems like it's came to a halt? I'm gaining weight, I got the brain fog, and I'm anxious all the time. I have anxiety, I'm stressed, angry. I don't know why I'm angry. I feel like back in the day when my period first started coming on, I was just angry for no reason. All of that. And for a lot of women, their sex drive decreases. That can stress you out as well, especially if you have a husband or a significant other. That can be stressful. There are just so many things that go along with menopause. But what I am here as a nurse of 28 years to tell you is, as soon as you notice your menstrual cycle, if you haven't gone through menopause yet, as soon as you notice that your menstrual cycle is irregular, go ahead and speak with your doctor. Go ahead and get the labs, check your estrogen level. I myself personally will take hormone replacement therapy for the rest of my life. HRT is what they call it. And it comes in creams, pills, shots, pellets, all sorts of ways that it's delivered. But what estrogen does is decreases the inflammation process throughout your entire body, in your joints, in your muscles, just everywhere. And I just feel no need for my body to be stressed out unnecessarily when the hormones are there. And I can see it happening when we used to live to be 45, 50 years old, but now we're living to be 80 to 100, and there's no need for all that. I'm not gonna suffer unnecessarily. I am just not going to do it. So if you're starting menopause symptoms, please, please, please speak with your physician. And if you're a friend of mine, and we're family, I would tell you to seek not just your regular family doctor, speak to a menopause specialist, OB-GYN. I'm gonna go to the OB-GYN. I'm gonna talk to someone who specializes in menopause. There are not that many physicians, but there are some out there. If you can research and if your insurance is able to accept that physician, then go ahead and do it, because that's all they do. You want a specialist for everything that you have an issue with, if you indeed can get that. And because they recognize, they understand, and they're accustomed to treating, and they're not gonna dismiss your claims or to dismiss your feelings or your symptoms. So we just gonna have to go through it. If you were born with ovaries and a uterus, just a part of that process that we have to go through. And also lean on your friends. Talk to your friends, let them know how you're feeling. If you're married, my husband and I have had hundreds of menopause conversations. I let him know on a regular basis how I'm feeling, because we both recognize that this is not normal. And so I let him know. I have to just be very cognizant of his feelings. I let him know how I'm feeling. So if I get up in the morning and I'm feeling really irritated for no reason whatsoever, I let him know, honey, I'm just not having a good day. I'm feeling irritated. So I just want you to know that. So he treads lightly. He treads lightly on those days. It just kind of leaves me alone to myself, or he's extra caring and compassionate. So just make sure you have that communication with your spouse or significant other, even your children, if there are anybody that pretty much is going to be around you, and your physician. The next thing that stresses women out above 40, I can definitely relate to. It definitely happened to me. First of all, it was the gray hair. I was planning on being black to the casket. I was going to be black until the day I died. I was going to keep dyeing my hair. I probably wouldn't have if my whole head been gray, but that was my plan. But then the other issue, the thinning hair. The thinning hair came about. And that happens for a lot of us as well, especially for women of color. If we've been putting relaxers in our hair, and I had been putting relaxers in my hair. I'm sure I started when I was very young. My mama put a relaxer in my hair before I had one before I was 18. Before I went to college, I had relaxers. And then, so you have the relaxers, then you have culturally, we got braids and cornrows, so you have that tension that's pulling on your scalp all those years, and then the relaxer, the chemicals that are just on your scalp for all those years. And then you have for some women it's hereditary. So for me, I had all three of those. So my hair started thinning in the top. And that's why I cut my hair. If you haven't seen the video, I'll try to link it. But I cut my hair because it was thinning up top, and I noticed that a lot of the women in my family, on my mother's side of the family, hair started thinning. And so I went to a dermatologist. If you want to, you can go to a dermatologist. And I specifically went to a dermatologist that specializes in hair for black people and not people of color, because black people have a different hair texture than any other people in the world. And that curly, coily hair is a given. If you're from the continent, the lower part of the continent, not the top half, then you're gonna have this curly, coily hair. And they did a biopsy and determined that I had probably a third of the number of hair strands growing on that piece of scalp. And also some of the hair strands that were growing were in a phase that they shouldn't have been in. I had too many that were in that phase of growth, that they weren't probably gonna grow to maturity. So that was helping the thinning as well. So if your hair is thinning, definitely seek professional help. I mean, you can do the oils and whatever, but go ahead and see a dermatologist. I did do a lot of research. So my dermatologist did the biopsy, and they gave me some ointment and some drops that the pharmacy, a specialized pharmacy, they mix the drops together, and I have to call and get that refilled. And she said I probably have to use that for the rest of my life, and I don't mind. It doesn't have any scent. I just put a few drops. But also I did research and found out that rosemary oil has clinically been shown to work as or almost as effectively as anything that you can get from a physician's office. So do with that information what you will. But again, if you're having thinning of your hair and it's really, really bothering you, go ahead and seek professional help. Seek a dermatologist, and they'll be able to tell you if you're truly having some thinning and if it's reversible, or if it's something you're doing or using, which would be wonderful, that you could stop doing or using. That is it. The gray hair, you can dye it like I did. When I cut my hair, that was one of the reasons I didn't want to cut my hair, because I knew I had a patch of gray hair about the size of a 50-cent piece right here. Because every time I dyed my hair, which is like I dyed the edges every 2 weeks, this part right here was kept, it would just grow back so fast, and it was white. Then I cut it all off, and yes, indeed, the patch was bigger than I thought it was. And I was okay with it. I was okay with it. I didn't think I was going to be okay with it, but I was. And then one day I decided, after seeing Jodie Turner-Smith with platinum blonde hair, and she looked so beautiful. I was like, oh, she's dark skinned like me. If she can wear it, I probably can wear it too. That's why I did this. And don't know if I'm going back. We'll see what I do over the winter time, but I'm loving it for right now. So that's all the advice I have about thinning and graying hair. Now this one was interesting. The list said that women over 40, especially 40, 50, stress about finance. They have financial planning stressors. They're stressed about retirement and if they're going to have enough money for retirement and that sort of thing. I know when I worked at the hospital, there were people there every year when we had to renew our 401k and that sort of thing. There was a person that we could talk to, but not extensively. But what I did was, if you bank, I bank at Bank of America. I know it's not the best, but anyway, I do. I bank at Bank of America and have been since I was 16, since I had my first job. If you bank with Bank of America, you can go in. You probably can do the same thing at your financial institution. You can just make an appointment to see a financial advisor, and it's free. And they'll talk to you about your retirement. They can also tell you how much money you need to they'll ask you about where you want to be financially when you retire, how much money you want to take in every month. Then they'll also tell you how much money you have to save or put into your 401k or savings account to make certain that you have that amount of money coming in every month once you retire. So there are people that you can talk to that are not going to cost you a lot of money. I have an accountant, so we talk to them as well. But don't stress about it. If you don't have enough money to get an accountant, or if you, hopefully you have a bank, because I don't know how people function without a bank. If you don't want to go into the bank, we have Google. Everything is Googleable. You can Google everything. Or YouTube. YouTube is wonderful, so you can actually watch videos. I used to follow a lot of financial advisors on YouTube, and I still do. I follow a lot of people that talk about stocks and investing, that sort of thing, because I like to have a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things, and that has definitely served me well. So if you're stressed about financial planning and about retirement, go ahead and do your research. Google. If you don't want to read all the information, you can still watch YouTube. And then if you're watching various YouTube channels and they're saying pretty much the same thing, you just do what you will with that information. But hopefully that will help to alleviate some of your stress. They used to be, your stomach is not as flat as it used to be, your legs are not as muscular, but they're the last thing to go. Them legs and them shoulders are the last to go. Your skin starts to sag a little bit. And it can be stressful, especially if you're used to your body being a certain way and all of a sudden it feels like it's changing. Once you go through menopause, it really feels like it's changing. But anyway, my recommendation for that is, first of all, talk to your physician. Hopefully you have one, especially as a woman, you need to have a physician. And make certain, if you are uncomfortable having that sort of conversation or any sort of conversation with your physician, you need to go ahead and get somebody else. Ask your friend, someone that you trust, who their doctor is, and go ahead and change it up. You don't even have to ask permission to leave to go somewhere else. You can just go find you another physician, and then they'll call that doctor and have that doctor send your files over. You don't have to have another conversation with that physician. But my recommendation is do your due diligence. Oh my God. Do your due diligence and do your research before you go in to talk to your physician. You need to have a list of recommended labs. You can, again, Google it, or you can YouTube it. Recommended labs that you should be done on a yearly basis, on every 6-month basis. Also, labs that are pertinent to you as a woman, those estrogen labs you need to be taking. Even if you start to feel funny, something's strange, something's not just right. Make certain they're drawing your estrogen levels. Make certain that you get your colonoscopy when you're supposed to get your colonoscopy at 50. All those sort of things. Just do your due diligence, because the physicians are there to treat. But sometimes you have to be your own advocate. You have to know what is best for you, not rely on the physician to tell you what is best for you. You need to do your due diligence, because as a nurse, nurses are the worst patients. Not quite often, but there have been several times where I have gone in to speak with a physician and questions or pushed back on recommendations that they were having for me, because I felt like that wasn't what was best for me. And they've listened, but you have to do research to find out what's going to work for you. You need to know what supplements you need to be taking after 40, and not just what supplements, how much should you be taking and how often should you be taking it. Also, talk to your physician about exercise. If you can't talk to them about exercise, or if they're not really knowledgeable about exercise, you can go to the gym, especially if you join a gym. You can, at first visit, when you're talking to them, you can get, like, most of the time they'll give you a free personal training session, so you can ask your personal training, or you can ask someone, or you can Google or go YouTube to find out what exercises should I be doing since I'm over 40. I know, for one, you need to be doing some weightlifting. You need to be doing some weightlifting, because the amount of muscle mass that we lose after 40, it rides along behind the estrogen. It hooks on the back of the estrogen tail. It hooks on the back of the estrogen tail. It just rides downhill. Your muscles do, right there with that estrogen. So for certain, you need to be lifting weights. But you can also get on YouTube and find out if I feel like my behind is just sagging some, is she not sitting up high as she used to be, what exercise do I need to do to push her back up or make her stay up there? So just, yeah, you can talk to your doctor, but you definitely can go on YouTube. You can also, if you don't want to go to the gym, they have exercise classes on YouTube, or you can pay for an exercise class that maybe they have the exercise class every day, and you just turn on your computer and you link into the class, and you just join that way. So you're at home doing your exercises alone. Nobody can see you. You can just see the instructor. So make sure you're asking all these questions and write them all down. Take your piece of paper or your notebook so that you can write the answers down as well. And the last thing that I am going to talk about that was on the list is the stressor or the concern that people over 40 have regarding their skin and the changes that are going on with their skin as their age. Now, I can tell you for certain, as you get closer to 50 and you hit menopause, that aging of your skin will accelerate. So there are some things that you can do to help combat that. If your skin is very dry like mine, you can make sure you use some great moisturizers. You use hyaluronic acid. One of the best things you can do for your skin is to use sunscreen, because the sun's UV rays really help accelerate the aging process when it comes to your skin. I know you may not think it does, even especially if you're dark skinned like me, but it does. We do have that melanin that fights off those rays, but it fights it. It don't mean it's gonna win, okay? So make sure you're wearing your sunscreens, because it doesn't make any sense if you're buying all these really great skincare products and you're layering them on and your skin is looking soft and supple, and you're not using your sunscreen. You really need to use your sunscreen. I found out that I really need to use sunscreen, because the sun will make my nose will break out with little bumps if I don't put sunscreen on. And I found that because I couldn't figure out why I kept getting bumps on my nose. Early in the morning, I would go water my plants and then walk the dog and then come back and exercise and then take a shower, and I kept getting bumps on my nose because I wasn't putting my sunscreen on until after I took my shower and did my skincare. So make sure you're doing that. And there are some things that you could do, like if you're worried about getting those 11 lines. I don't know about you, but I have gotten Botox. I haven't gotten it since I've gotten back from Saudi, but I am really thinking about getting it again. And what that does, it pretty much paralyzes the muscle right here, so that when you're frowning like this, you don't get those wrinkles, because eventually over time, those wrinkles, that 11 will become permanent if you do that a lot. So it helps decrease the amount of wrinkles that you're gonna get in your forehead over time, because that muscle's not moving, so it's not creating those indentations. You can also make certain, I use a retinol cream. My retinol cream comes from my physician, so you don't have to get the retinol cream from a physician's office. You can now get some adapalene, which they sell at the drugstore. And another product that I've been using, so I don't use them at the same time, but it is a glycolic acid, and it's the AHA, and it helps slough off the dead skin as well. And I use the Ordinary. Hold on, let me show you. Here it is. You see the back, how much I use. So this is glycolic acid, and it is a gentle exfoliator. I'll use this if I'm not using the retinol cream. If I've used the retinol cream and my skin may get a little sensitive sometimes, and I feel like maybe I need to lay off that for a bit, I will use this, and it works really, really well. I don't use those cotton pads when they tell you to put your product on the cotton pad and rub it on, because it's gonna soak some of my product up. So I just open this up. I'm gonna close it because I'm gonna pour some out. And I pour some in my skin, in my hands, rub together, and I just pat it all over my face. And I do that at night. That is to be used at night, not during the day, because you don't want to use that and your vitamin C cream or your vitamin C serum or drops. But I use vitamin C during the day. I use lots of serums and stuff during the day. Then I do my moisturizer, and then I do my sunscreen. Even if I'm gonna be putting makeup on like today, I do all of that every single morning. After whatever skincare stuff I'm gonna do, like I have the red light mask that I put on sometime. My husband hates that mask. I will put it on, mash a little button, put my glasses on the outside and keep working. He just thinks it looks crazy. But I'm gonna do everything it takes to hold back mother time. If you're really having issues with your skin, or you worry about the sagging of your skin, you can see an esthetician, and they'll be able to recommend products for you to use. And if you just don't have the funds to be buying all those really expensive products, because you really don't have to pay a lot of money for great skincare ingredients, just let them know, listen, ma'am, I do not have enough money to pay $65 for some cream, because you shouldn't be paying $65 for any cream. I do not have that. Can you make something? Can you recommend something from the drugstore? Recommend a brand that's not going to break the bank, something that's very budget friendly. My favorite is the Ordinary brand, and they have just about every skincare product or serum that you could possibly need. And they have some that are more expensive than others, but nothing that's gonna be $60, $75, nothing that's gonna be crazy. But again, just make certain, if you're concerned about that, and then talk to your doctor about it and ask them about products that you may be able to use. If you're able to get a facial, talk to your esthetician, or make an appointment with an esthetician just to talk about skincare products that you could possibly use. Or again, Google or YouTube, you can watch. There are so many videos. There are so many videos about the Ordinary and their products, and which ones to use for what, and products that are comparable at the drugstore, comparable in the department stores. But you can always get that information on YouTube. That's where I got a lot of my information. So that is it. Yeah, that's it. Well, that's it, family. I really hope you enjoyed the video. While I'm at it, let me know if you have some content that I haven't put out, or maybe you need a refresher on some stuff that I've put out already, something that you would like to hear. I really want to make certain that I'm giving you content that is relevant, something that is impactful, and something that you enjoy. Now, thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. I want you to have the most amazing day. Bye-bye.